It is crucial that the Gnostic brothers never forget themselves. When I say they should not forget themselves, that is something that must be understood. An athlete, a sportsman, might seem that he never forgets himself. However, he is absolutely oblivious of himself. An anchorite, a hermit living in a cave, enduring great fasts, with his body covered in dust, afflicted by hunger, and completely committed to esoteric things, might, as a matter of fact, seem that he never forgets himself. However, he is completely oblivious of himself. Why? Because he has forgotten his physical body, because he does not care for it as it should be cared for. The body is a useful instrument that was given to us for the inner self-realization of the being. If we neglect the body, it means that we have forgotten ourselves, because the body has an objective. It has been given by the law, and it is useful for the fulfillment of karma, but also for the inner self-realization of the being. It is a marvelous laboratory that must be taken care of. Observe the two extremes, the athlete who might seem to never forget himself, and the anchorite or penitent who lives miserably in the cave with hunger, and might seem to never forget himself. However, both extremes are absurd, because they have forgotten themselves. Both have violated the law of balance and are in a state of perfect imbalance. What would be the correct thing to do in order to never forget oneself? In reality, only through the perfect relationship of the consciousness, the body, and the external environment is that marvelous taste of the spirit attained, the authentic behavior of the one who never forgets himself. The consciousness must express itself through the organs of the body, through the organic human machine. The consciousness must be alert and vigilant, like the watchman in wartime. It is through the machine, the body, that we relate to the environment in which we live. Therefore, the consciousness, the body, and the environment in perfect equilibrium are necessary if we do not want to ever forget ourselves. If the consciousness does not relate intelligently with the body, then illnesses arise. If it is not related with the external environment, conflicts arise. So consciousness, body, and external environment are vital and definitive for the one who does not forget himself. Those who forget themselves walk through the mistaken path. When we forget ourselves in front of a glass of wine, we end up drunk. When we forget ourselves in front of a person of the opposite sex, we end up fornicating. When we forget ourselves in front of the insulter, we end up insulting. As a matter of fact, no one can awaken the consciousness if they forget themselves. How do we behave during daily life? If we observe people in the streets, in their jobs, or at home, we can verify the concrete fact that they forget themselves. Obviously, he who forgets himself will be unable to self-discover himself and will continue with a sleeping consciousness. Undoubtedly, we need to self-discover ourselves, and this can only be possible in the interrelation, that is to say, when we are with others. The defects that we have hidden appear spontaneously, and if we are alert and vigilant, like the watchman in wartime, then we can see them. A discovered defect must be studied through the evident self-reflection of the being. A discovered defect must be studied through meditation. It is only through the path of profound discernment that we can become conscious of any psychological defect. Undoubtedly, every defect is represented by a psychic aggregate. These aggregates can only be seen with the sense of psychological self-observation. Undoubtedly, that sense is in a latent state in all human beings. However, we will say that an organ that is not used becomes atrophied, while an organ that is used develops. As we utilize the sense of psychological self-observation, this sense will unfold. Undoubtedly, the development of that sense will allow us to see our own psychic aggregates. It is truly interesting to be a witness of ourselves, to see how those aggregates are disintegrated in a dialectic and didactic form. It is obvious that in order to attain the disintegration of a determined aggregate, it is absolutely necessary to use a force that is superior to the mind. That power exists. It is latent in each one of us. It is the igneous serpent of our magical powers. It is Kundalini, it is the Cosmic Mother, it is Mara, it is Tonantzin, Isis, Diana, Selene, etc. Undoubtedly, this is a power that is in a latent state in every organic and inorganic matter. It is a derived part of our own being. We can be helped by Mara, our Cosmic Mother, during profound inner meditation. She will be able to disintegrate any aggregate previously comprehended in all the levels of the mind. So it is convenient to reflect profoundly on all of this. It is convenient to comprehend profoundly the crucial reality of all of this. Mara, Mary, Isis, Adonaya, Isoberta, Rhea, Cybele, they will help us. As a matter of fact, we need to be helped. Normally, the consciousness is enclosed within the psychic aggregates. Each aggregate is like a bottle in which the consciousness is bottled up. If we break the bottle, the consciousness is liberated. We need to awaken the consciousness in order to have access to the truth. We need to awaken the consciousness in order to attain the permanent samadhi. We need to liberate the consciousness in order to experience that which does not belong to time, that which is beyond the body, the affections and the mind. So, brothers, I want you to comprehend the necessity to be alert and vigilant, like the watchman in wartime. This state of alert is not attained in the extremes, but in the middle, in the center. I said already that an athlete is not watchful or alert. He has forgotten himself. I also said that an anchorite living in a lonely cave with hunger and miserable is not alert either. He has forgotten himself. The path of knowing how to relate the state of alert consciousness and the external environment is in the center. Only in this form will we not forget ourselves. The path is internal, it is profound. First of all, we have to know that the maximum power of the Divine Mother is fire. She in herself is fire. Stella Maris, the Virgin of the Sea, is Fohat. She is the fire. Through the fire, we can destroy the psychic aggregates. Undoubtedly, it is the sacred cobra of the great mysteries that has its maximum power in the forge of the Cyclops. There is no doubt that transcendental sexual electricity strengthens the power of Kundalini Shakti. This is why those who follow the path of the perfect marriage must invoke the sacred cobra precisely in the lit forge of Vulcan and disintegrate the psychic aggregates. The fire itself is profoundly divine and is called Fohat. There exists a tremendous difference between the fire that is useful to cook food, the fire that is on the altar, the fire at the vigil of the dead, and the luciferic fire. The fire of the Kundalini is a very special fire. It is a Vulcanian fire that can transform us radically, and that must be developed in ourselves. In truth, I say, brothers, that one is the fire that burns here in the entire nature of the three-dimensional world of Euclid, and another is the fire of the fire, the flame of the flame, the astral signature of the fire. Undoubtedly, there are many fires, but the one that destroys the psychic aggregates is Vulcanian, and this is amazing. Our salvation is in the fire. The sacred books have been written amid the crepitation of the fire. The Apocalypse, the book of the books that guides the alchemists, is written with burning coals. In each apocalyptic versicle, there exists fire. The four Gospels were written with fire. The Old Testament was also written with fire. The constant crepitation of the flames must make us become comprehensive. Our gospel is igneous and sparks in the entire aura of the universe. However, we need to be alert and on the watch, as the watchman in wartime. We need never to forget ourselves. Only in this form will we walk through the path that leads us to final liberation. In the physical world, Fohat can be used in many forms, but in the superior worlds, Fohat is different. One remembers Apollo, the solar god, who is a flame. One remembers the flames that initiated the aurora of the Mahamanvantara. All of those holy gods of the ancient Greek mythology are flames. All of those ineffable gods of the Egyptian, Hindu, Chinese, Druid, and Hyperborean pantheons are living flames. For this reason, St. Paul affirms emphatically that the angels are ministers of the fire and that God is a devouring fire. Moses, wise like no other, speaks about Elohim and Elohim. Do not forget that there exist two aspects, the manifested and the not manifested. The not manifested can never be carved, symbolized, or painted because it is unknowable and is beyond the fire. On a certain occasion, a great elemental god was asked, "What exists beyond the fire?" And he answered, "That is something that we do not know." It happens that the unknowable deity is beyond the fire. Elohim, the eternal cosmic common father, could not be allegorized. However, from that one comes forth Elohim, the host of the word, of the verb. Undoubtedly, each one of these Elohim of the great hosts is a living flame that came forth from the entrails of the unknowable. I want you to understand that the fire is the manifested word that has come forth from the very entrails of the unknowable. I want you to know that the fire is the word, the verb. With perfect reason, John begins his ministry saying, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not." The entire army of the voice, the Logos, the demiurge architect of the universe, is fire. As a result of this, we understand the following. The fire has the power to manage the cosmic forces of the universe. The fire has the power to destroy and to build. The fire has the power to make and organize the chaotic matter. It can integrate it or disintegrate it. The fire ascends by the action of the first impulse of the atomic forces contained in the chaos. The fire gives the first impulse, and after this it becomes law. The fire has the power to create and recreate. The fire is intelligent and can create new atoms, something that Democritus never thought, and destroy those that already exist. The fire exists in all the universes and will not become extinguished in the way that people think. One day it will sleep amid the chaos all its disintegrated parts will be submerged in the centers of the flame. Its life will not become extinguished. It will be disintegrated only, and the life will stay latent in each one of its parts, with the possibility of reappearing later. There is no doubt that one day this universe, after having disappeared, will come forth again with more splendor than before, stronger than before, more powerful.